After seeing the bullet screen in the apocalyptic cold world, I went on a killing spree. On the day my parents called and asked me to come home, I was about to agree when a series of bullet comments appeared in front of me. Does the supporting female really think her parents genuinely care about her? Doesn't she know that the only reason they called her back is because the day after tomorrow is the apocalyptic cold world? Her brother is the male lead of this world. They called her just to get her to hand over the savings she earned over the years. I pretended not to see these bullet comments and agreed excitedly. No one knows. I had bound myself to the million system a week earlier. As long as my parents called me to go home, I could get 1,000,000. Looking at the bullet comments in front of me, I was momentarily stunned. On the other end of the phone, hearing my lack of response for a long time, an impatient voice came through. Qin Meng Man, I'm talking to you, did you hear me? I finally snapped back to reality, pressed my red lips together and agreed. I got it. I'll come back after work tonight. Hearing this, my mom breathed a sigh of relief and hurriedly hung up my call. No way, no way. Do you really think your mom just wants you to come home for dinner? In fact, your brother is the male protagonist of this world. He has been reincarnated back. As for reincarnation, of course, stockpiling supplies is necessary, and you are the unfortunate one. Shut up. The male protagonist is the one who saves the world in the end. Sacrificing some minor characters is a necessary means. I blinked my dry eyes. Looking at these bullet comments, I finally understood why my mom exceptionally called me. It turns out that our current world is a male-oriented cool novel set in an extreme cold apocalypse. My brother Qin Xian is the male protagonist. I'm just the cannon fodder sister, moved wherever needed. Even my biological parents don't care about me. They only have Qin Xian in their hearts. Actually, deep down, I already knew, didn't I? Even this name, Meng Nan, was because my parents wanted a son. I love my brother Qin Xian, who is 3 years younger than me. When I was young, I didn't understand why. Even though we were both our parents' children, my brother had things I didn't. I placed first in every exam, hoping they would look at me more. But they never did. In my parents' eyes and hearts, there was only one son, Qin Xian. They were just ordinary farmers. I never received my college tuition from them. They gave everything they had to Qin Xian. But, for some reason, despite being prepared, my heart still ached when I saw the comments on the bullet screen. The system spoke at the right time. Host, don't cry. As long as you complete the task, you will receive 10 million yuan. As long as you have money, why? Oh, you can have whatever you want. I wiped away the tears from the corners of my eyes and forced a smile. Do I just have to go back today to get the 10 million? Yes. With a confirmed answer, I nodded. I've long since stopped hoping for love from my parents. According to what was said on the bullet screen, the day after tomorrow will be the apocalyptic extreme cold. I've never eaten pork, but I've seen pigs run. No wonder the first thing Qin Xian did when he was reborn was to stockpile supplies. It seems I also need to stock up on some supplies. As for my parents, I'll go see them today to find out what they want to do with the alcohol. When I got home, the family had already started eating, and the warm atmosphere made it hard for me to fit in. My mom glanced at me indifferently, her tone filled with blame. Who are you showing that expression to? Your brother is hungry and you come back so late to eat. Isn't that on purpose? She deliberately picked a fault. And I had been hungry all day, having no energy to argue with her. At this moment, Qin Xian walked up to me, warmly taking my hand. Sis, don't misunderstand. Mom's just a bit worried about you. We've only just started eating not long ago. I'll get you a bowl and chopsticks. Let's eat together. As he spoke, he gave Mom a meaningful look. Mom reluctantly turned around and went to the kitchen to get me a set of bowls and chopsticks. Eat. 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 Why don't you eat yourself to death? There's barely enough money to buy groceries as it is. These are all for Ashwan. I looked at the house in front of me. They forced me to buy this house the year my job became stable. Now there's a mortgage of more than 10,000 every month, yet I, the owner, can only live at home. I calmly sat down on the chair, waiting for Mom to bring over the chopsticks and bowl. Seeing me not moving, Mom's face showed an angry expression, and she was about to start scolding again. Qin Xian glanced at her, speaking with a smile. Mom. Even if she was unwilling at heart, she still handed me the bowl and chopsticks. You better hurry up and thank your brother. I glanced at Qin Xian. He smiled, shook his head, and said, It's nothing. You're my sister. This is as it should be. I struggled to hold back the laughter in my throat, because just a moment ago, the system notified me. My 10 million has already arrived, and I received a notification on my phone. Now my mind is completely at ease. After finishing the meal, I looked at them. Why did you ask me to come back? Mom frowned and said, What's with your attitude? Talk nicely with your brother. Qin Xian quickly intervened. Mom, stop talking. After speaking, he looked at me. Sister, that's just how Mom is, don't mind her. Looking at my eager brother, I felt conflicted. Actually, I haven't had much interaction with him. Growing up, he was the treasure that our parents cherished dearly. That year, it was my elementary school graduation, and the teacher said I had excellent grades and wanted my parents to attend the ceremony. I agreed wholeheartedly. That evening, I cautiously approached my mom and said, Mom, there's a graduation ceremony at school tomorrow. Could you come? Without a second thought, she agreed. But the next day, I waited and waited and waited for a long time, but she never showed up. The teacher looked at me with a hint of impatience in her eyes. I knew she was annoyed that I messed up something that had already been decided. In the end, it was another student's parent who saved the day. That night, I came home to question my mom why she hadn't gone to the school. She didn't even glance at me. Her mind and heart were all on Qin Xian. You ungrateful wretch. Your brother is sick. How could I leave? Do you really think you are more important than your brother? Go away, get lost, and stop bothering me. She left, holding my brother. Watching her back as she departed, I forced myself not to cry. After that, I never disturbed them again. I once hated Qin Xian, believing he had stolen my life. But in reality, it had nothing to do with him. I lowered my gaze, then looked up again, a smile appearing on my lips. Now that I'm back, what do you want? Qin Xian opened his mouth, as if he wanted to say something more. Mom interrupted directly and got straight to the point. Your brother wants to buy something. Give him 50,000, no wait, 100,000. I widened my eyes in disbelief, even though I had mentally prepared myself. But at this moment, I still couldn't believe it. The barrage of comments fluttered in front of my eyes. If I'm not mistaken, the supporting female character Jin Yan is only 25 years old, just graduated from college 3 years ago. 100,000. That's outright extortion. This isn't just favoring sons over daughters. This is clearly bleeding the daughter dry to support the son. If I'm not mistaken, the house was also bought by the supporting female character. Finally, a character in this book with the right values. Isn't this just a remnant of feudal thinking? Qin Xian quickly spoke up to mitigate. Sis, I'm not sure if you believe me, but I still want to tell you. I had a dream in which the world was about to enter an apocalypse, and at that time it would be very difficult for our family to survive because of a lack of supplies. I'm asking to borrow money from you because I want to buy some supplies. I will repay you as soon as possible. I was stiff, and only then did I find my voice. An extremely cold apocalypse. Qin Xian nodded heavily. Yes, it could be the day after tomorrow, so we are pressed for time. During the extremely cold apocalypse, temperatures could drop to -70 or 80 degrees, severely reaching over 100 degrees below zero. Even survival becomes a problem. We must buy more supplies. He finished his words in one breath, then stared at me with bright eyes. Sister, I'm just an ordinary college student. My parents don't have money either. You have to believe me. I will do my best to protect you all. We are a family. These words left me in a daze. A family? A warm feeling surged into my heart. I took a deep breath. 1 million, I don't have that much. I only have 500,000. I directly transferred 500,000 to him. Since high school, I've been working part-time to enrich myself, and in college, I seized every opportunity to climb up. Now, I've long since become a leader, and 500,000 is all the money I've saved in the past 3 years. Mom frowned, with a hint of dissatisfaction on her face. That's too little. It's simply... Before she could finish speaking, I stood up. The company needs me to go back and work overtime. Just as I was about to leave, I heard Qin Xian's voice from behind. I turned around, and he gave me a gentle smile. Sis, come back early. At that moment, I pressed my lips tightly together, stopping myself from crying. After walking out of the house, the cold wind cleared my mind. I didn't go back to the company. Instead, I went to the agent and rented another apartment. It's not that I don't trust Qin Xian. It's just that after so many years in society, I've developed a habit of having backups. If it really is an extreme apocalyptic scenario, human nature is the most dangerous. I can't go grocery shopping. With the keys in hand, I called the installation company directly. Now there's over 10 million in my account, so I can splurge a bit. By adding more money, I finally managed to replace all the doors and the heating system with the best ones by early morning. While the installation company was working, I didn't stay idle either. Went to the big supermarket nearby and bought a trunk full of instant noodles and self-heating hot pot. If the temperature really drops, the water will definitely freeze. I also got the agent to rent the house 5 floors down. Called to have 100 barrels of water delivered downstairs. Also hired 20 couriers to buy other necessary things for me from nearby. Kept busy until dawn, finally having collected everything I learned I needed. The preparation wasn't very thorough. But since I'm alone, it's no problem for me to eat for half a year. Looking at this pile of food, I felt a heavy burden lifted from my heart. For some reason, looking at my brother's sincere face, I always have a strange feeling. At this moment, even the live chat can't figure out what I'm trying to do. What's this female supporting character up to, buying so much stuff? No matter what she's planning. After she's dead, all this stuff will be the male leads. She's just preparing a gift for someone else. I clenched my fists tightly. According to their claims, I will die. But how exactly do I die? No matter how I think about it, I can't figure it out. Since I can't figure it out, let's just leave it at that. I drove back home. My parents and Qin Xian were also busily preparing supplies. I glanced at them indifferently. They were buying fresh vegetables and meat. If there really is a lockdown, even in cold weather, this won't last long. The main thing is to buy food with a longer shelf life. Just as I was about to remind them, my mother's sarcastic voice came. Some people, all they do is slack off. If it were really the end of the world, I wonder if they'd have the nerve to stay home doing nothing. I didn't want to indulge her anymore, so I walked over and stared at her. I bought this house, and I'm still paying the mortgage. Mom instantly flew into a rage. I carried you for 10 months and gave birth to you. What more do you want? Qin Xian quickly came over to mediate. Stop arguing. He calmed Mom down. Sis, there isn't much time left. Hurry up and prepare the supplies. I glanced at my mom and then turned away. I pretended not to hear the voice behind me. I organized all the supplies once again. When I returned home, my mom glanced at the instant noodles in my hand and snorted coldly. Not wanting to talk to her, I lay on the sofa in my clothes. It's incredibly ironic that even though I bought the house, I don't have a room of my own. Tomorrow is almost here. By then, I will be able to find out if what they said is true. I kept my eyes open until dawn. The next day, it was just starting to get light. I heard a sound by my ear. Qin Xian had gotten up. Seeing me approach, he waved at me. Sister, come take a look. I walked over and was shocked by the scene downstairs. A vast expanse of white appeared before my eyes. I could even see icicles hanging from the branches. Yet, when I fell asleep yesterday, the weather was just cool. Throughout the whole night, I didn't hear a thing. It seemed as if the world had silently transformed overnight. Qin Xian took out his phone, and a broadcast played. Today's temperature is -30 degrees. It's best for everyone not to go out to ensure your safety. The weather forecast on the phone clearly displayed 30. The comments were already exploding. Oh my god, I didn't sleep at all last night. How did it suddenly become like this? A sudden drop in temperature, -30 degrees. It's as if the heavens are punishing humanity. The apocalypse has truly arrived. After a while, my parents also got up. As soon as Mom saw the scene outside, she exclaimed, "Oh my god, how did it become like this?" She turned around, smiling at Qin Xian. My son is amazing. He predicted this early on. After finishing her words, her expression instantly turned gloomy as she stared at me. Why are you still standing here? Hurry up and make breakfast, or are you waiting for me to serve you? She glared at me with a stern look. Inside, I couldn't stir up any emotion. Calmly, I turned to go to the kitchen. I casually cooked some porridge and steamed 4 large buns before coming out of the kitchen. The house was filled with the aroma of food. After washing my hands and coming out of the kitchen, all the food on the table had been divided. Only one lonely bun was left on the plate, and the porridge was already gone. I took a deep breath and reached out to grab that bun. Mom quickly snatched the bun away. What are you looking at? If it weren't for Ashwan, would you be living such a life today? Ashwan is a man. He naturally needs to eat more. I took a deep breath, struggling to keep my temper. Then what do I eat? She pouted, her gaze falling on the thin layer of porridge left. Isn't there still some left? You can just make do with hot water and eat it. At this point, I couldn't hold back anymore. The veins on my forehead bulged, and my hands clenched tightly together. I grabbed my mom's hand. You expect me to eat this? I just want to ask you one thing. Am I really your biological daughter? My eyes were red as I stared at her. Mom viciously shook off my hand. Let me tell you, you're nothing compared to Ah Xian. At this time, if it weren't for Ah Xian, would you still be comfortably at home eating and drinking well? You're lucky we're even giving you a bite to eat. After her words fell, I looked toward a mirror not far away. The person in the mirror was already in tears. I subconsciously reached up to touch my own face. I didn't know when the tears started falling, nor when I began to cry. What she said today mocked all the hopes I'd held onto for so many years. Each word was like a dagger to the heart. Damn, this mother who favors sons over daughters. I wish I could go in there and give her a piece of my mind. And the female supporting character is really pathetic, too. She's been humiliated to this extent and still tolerates it. Ninja Turtles. This introduction to the female supporting character is just the Ninja Turtle sister. She's used to being oppressed. Don't expect her to resist. Enough. I feel sorry for sister. My voice was hoarse, laden with deep fatigue. I bought this house. Now get out of my house. Mom widened her eyes in disbelief, pointing to herself. You're going to throw us out? I remained silent. Mom walked over to Qin Xian, crying heartbreakingly. Son, look at her. She's nothing but an ingrate. Even now, she wants to kick me out. Qin Xian looked at me, then at Mom. In the end, he wore a troubled expression on his face. Sis, you've had a conflict with Mom. She's not in good health. Just let it go for her sake. Here's what we'll do. You step outside for a bit, calm down, and I'll let you back in later. I opened my eyes wide. You want to kick me out? The temperature outside is cold enough to kill someone. Qin Yuan isn't a fool. There's no way she wouldn't know. He lowered his head, a desolate expression on his face. Sister, Mom is very important to me. Don't worry, once she calms down, I'll definitely let you back in. I am no match for their entire family. They grabbed my hand and directly threw me out. When I finally reacted again, I was already standing outside the door. I wondered how the supporting character died. Turns out she was kicked out by her own family. Even I can see the male lead did this on purpose. How could he possibly let the female lead return? How did someone with such messed up values become the male lead? He actually did this to his own sister. The cold air around me kept blowing fiercely. Having just stepped out of a warmly heated room, I instantly stiffened. Qin Xian would never open the door for me again. At this moment, my expectations of my family had dissipated. I will never again believe in my family's love. Turning around, I ran towards the house I rented. Although the temperature was very low, it wouldn't be fatal immediately. I didn't waste any time. By the time my body started feeling warm again, I was already standing inside the rented house. I quickly went into the bathroom for a hot shower, put on a down jacket, and made a hot pot for myself. Only then did my whole body slowly regain its warmth. Just as I took out my phone, I heard a sound coming from the surveillance system. Xian, she won't be coming back, right? I was stunned, then remembered that I had installed surveillance at home. Last time, the property management had installed it for every household. It's just that my parents and Qin Xian weren't home at the time, so naturally, they didn't know about it. Qin Xian laughed with wild abandon. Of course, in such cold weather, she has nowhere to go and would naturally freeze to death. That's good. I've long found her annoying. Always putting on that face, not sure for whom. It'd be best if she froze to death outside. Xian is really smart. Not only did he get her money, but also doesn't let her freeload at home. As expected of my son. Truly impressive. I stopped dead in my tracks. So it turns out this was all their plan. I glanced at the harmonious family, feeling as if a heavy stone was pressing down on my heart. Since they treat me like this, they can't blame me. I took out my phone and quickly sent a message in the group. I have supplies at my home. If anyone needs food, just come to Building D, room 306 and find me. I don't quite understand where this plot is going. Yay, it's time for revenge. This is the kind of story we strong female leads should be reading. Side character becomes the main character, making sexist parents and selfish brothers pay the price. Wait a minute, wasn't the brother reborn? Why is he treating his sister like this? I remember there was no animosity between them. I wasn't in the mood to pay attention to the comments. My gaze fell on the group chat. The sudden temperature drop happened too quickly. Many people weren't prepared. Now that they read what I posted in the group, they're all asking if it's true. I didn't say anything further. Anyway, this is all I needed to do. Their retribution is coming soon. Qin Xian soon saw what was posted in the group. He directly messaged me. Sis, what are you doing? I already said, once Mom calms down, I'll bring you back. Yuri Mom's child whom she carried for 10 months. You shouldn't make her unhappy. I curled my lips and blocked him immediately. What does any of this have to do with me? Soon, people from the group found their way to my door. The first to arrive was the flower-armed guy from downstairs. 2 equally fierce-looking men followed him. Bang, bang, bang. Open the door. The door was being pounded fiercely. It sounded as if it was being struck by a heavy hammer. The door couldn't withstand such pressure at all. Mom looked at my brother like he was her lifeline. Xian, what do we do now? Her face was smudged with tears and snot. making her look particularly disheveled. I always knew she was someone who bullies the weak and fears the strong. Qin Xian's face showed a hint of irritation. He still walked to the door and cautiously spoke. Big brother, what's going on? The tattooed man raised an eyebrow. I heard your family has a lot of food, so the brothers and I came to see if we could buy some. Given the current situation, having money doesn't necessarily mean you can buy food. Qin Xian was clearly hesitant. The tattooed man roared angrily. What, you don't want to? If that's the case, don't blame me for taking matters into my own hands. Even reborn, Qin Xian was just a college student. He was trembling with fear, stuttering. Brother, you wait a moment, I'll find it for you right now. He took a bag of rice from the house and brought it out. Brother, this is all there is. The tattooed man obviously didn't believe him, but still snorted coldly before turning to leave. Since that day, a variety of people have come to ask for supplies almost every day. At first, it was only people from the same building. Later on, the neighbors from around the area started coming too. Each visitor was a strong man, and Qin Xian and the others didn't dare to resist at all. In just a week, what was once a house full of supplies now had less than 1/3 remaining. After sending off the last man asking for supplies, they shut the door. Mother's face was full of worry. What are we going to do now? We don't have much left. The food left in the house was only enough for their family of 3 for less than a month. This didn't even account for the loss of fresh vegetables and meat. Qin Xian's face was also full of despair. He pounded his fist heavily on the sofa beside him. If it weren't for that bitch Qin Mengnan. Seeing the hatred on his face, I curled my lips into a smile. I took out my phone, removed him from the blacklist, and sent out a video call. The moment the video was sent, it was answered. On the phone, Qin Xian glared at me fiercely. Qin Mengnan, you're still alive. I raised my eyebrows, eyes full of smugness. Comfortably lying on the sofa, revealing a small hot pot beside me, I sighed contentedly. Of course I'm not dead yet. None of you have faced the consequences, so how could I possibly die? Oh, and not only am I alive, I'm living quite well. This hot pot is really delicious. I ate with great enjoyment. My face was flushed from the spiciness, and a thin layer of sweat appeared on the tip of my nose. Seeing the hot pot in my hand, Qin Xian swallowed hard. Qin Mengnan. I casually picked at my ear. No need to shout. I'm not deaf. I can hear you. Oh, by the way, want some? Even if you do, there's none for you. After saying that, I hung up the phone amidst their murderous glances. This feels absolutely amazing. Even my breast ducts feel cleared. For future female lead stories, please follow this standard and step up the game. Such emotional manipulation. The male lead's family's food supplies were long gone, leaving only these dry compressed biscuits, a stark contrast to the richly flavored life of the female supporting character. I continued to enjoy my delicious meal. When I checked my phone again, the entire group chat had exploded. I have no idea when Qin Xian took a screenshot. He posted a picture of me eating hot pot in the group chat, still pretending to be innocent. Sister, our whole family misses you. Please come back soon. Especially Mom. She can't sleep every night because she misses you so much. If you're still upset, just tell me where you are and I'll come get you. These emotional tactics are about to hit me right in the face. People in the group chat are also joining in to criticize me. Sister, given the current situation, you should really hurry back home. It's not safe to be out there alone. Yeah, being with family is always better than being alone. Miss, our family hasn't eaten in 3 days. You must still have some food, right? Can you lend me a pack of instant noodles? Yeah, look at all the things you have behind you. Lend me a box of meat. Me too dot. Qin Xian is not foolish. He wants to stand on the moral high ground to accuse me. If I refuse to share my food, I'm considered heartless. But if I reveal my address, my gaze turned deep and profound. What a pity. I'm not a good person. Morality has never existed in me. I glanced and directly exited the group chat. Anyway, the barrage will help me. I don't want these things to affect my mood. Ha 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 ha. The female supporting character is simply amazing. I'm going to die laughing. The male lead thinks he has found a way to control the female supporting character, but unfortunately, she's not someone he can control. As long as I'm not moral, no one can force me. Brilliantly done. The male lead is about to smash his phone in anger. He's fuming. The people in the group couldn't find out my location, so they could only take it out on Qin Xian and his family. In less than 3 days, all the food at home was completely ransacked. They couldn't even find a single cookie. This was material worth 500,000. Qin Xian drank a gulp of water with an unpleasant expression. Mother's face wasn't any better. She grabbed Qin Xian's hand. Ah, Xian, what do we do now? Qin Xian shook off her hand, sending Mother sprawling to the ground. What should we do? What should we do? If you hadn't done things to upset her in the first place, how would this have happened? It's all your fault. He glared at her angrily. Mother opened her mouth, but couldn't say a word. See, this is the son she cherishes dearly. Even after being treated like this, she still didn't lose her temper at him. That night, Qin Xian video called me. Coincidentally, I had made a dry pot for myself today. White mist swirled around the phone, making me feel like I was enveloped in fairy mist. Sister, you finally answered the phone. You have no idea how worried I've been about you these days. I calmly interrupted him. What's there to worry about? I'm eating well and sleeping better than you guys. Instead of worrying about me, you should really take care of yourselves. With that, I was about to hang up the phone. Wait a minute, sister. Mom wants to talk to you. Qin Xian stopped my action. The phone quickly changed hands. Mom looked at me with a gaze full of resentment. Qin Mengnan, you better get back here right now. And bring back all the food you took with you. Her eyes fell on the stir-fry before me as she swallowed hard. I smiled. Mom, it seems it's not me who needs you now. Do you want some? If you do, apologize properly, and maybe I'll consider it. Mom straightened up instantly. Qin Mengnan, don't think I won't beat you. I parted my red lips slightly. Brother, I was originally considering having you all come over to my place for a meal, but with Mom's attitude like this, I'm not very pleased. As soon as the words left my mouth, Mom got slapped heavily. Why across the face? Qin Xian grabbed her hair. Mom, you better apologize properly to my sister. Mom shifted her gaze to me and opened her mouth. Qin Mengnan, I'm sorry. Her face was full of humiliation. I let out a mocking laugh. Since it's not sincere, forget it. Then I won't consider it either. With that, I hung up the phone directly. I sat on the sofa, watching the barrage of comments flow by. Oh my god, I can't believe I used to like this male lead. He's simply inhuman, forcing his own mother to go out and find food. So selfish. Does someone like this really deserve to be the male lead? His mom is no match for him. She's already been locked outside. My eyes lit up, and I hurriedly pulled up the surveillance feed. Mom stood outside the door, wearing only thin clothing, and kept knocking. Son, I'm begging you, can you let me in, please? Mom can't go out. If I go out, I surely won't be able to come back. Ah, Xian, Mom loved you the most when you were little. Will you open the door and let Mom in? She wailed at the door for 10 minutes, but there was no sign of the door being opened. With nothing else she could do, she could only wrap her clothes tightly around herself and slowly walk downstairs. The elevator was frozen and couldn't operate normally. I couldn't see the screen, but from the bullet comments, I could see Mom's situation now. In such cold weather, her whole body is frozen stiff. She can't walk anymore. She fell. In this weather, if she falls, she won't be able to get up. Her life will end here. It's over. Her whole body is already stiff. In her final moments, the direction her eyes were looking was actually towards home. Do you think she regretted everything she did in the past? Mom died? My gaze flickered, and I lowered my eyes. Would she regret it? I guess no one knows the answer to that. That night, Qin Xian called me again. His whole appearance was unkempt, with a scruffy beard, sallow and thin face, looking like he had aged 10 years. I looked at him, smiling sweetly. Brother, do you know what I ate today? I had your favorite grilled meat today. Pork belly, sizzling and dripping with oil. It's the best to eat in such cold weather. Such a life is truly happy. Winter is the time when you most need energy. By now, Qin Xian was so hungry that his mind was unclear. He knelt on the ground, repeatedly bowing his head to me. Sister, it's been Mom who didn't like you since you were little. Don't worry, she's already dead. I made her pay for it. She won't be biased anymore in the future. Aren't you happy now? Sister, I'm your real brother. You wouldn't want to see me starve to death, would you? Please, can you come back? I'm so hungry. Dad, who was beside us, also spoke up. Mengnan, please hurry back. Xian is the future of our family. Why? What if he starves? Don't you still have plenty of food? Bring it back here right away. He commanded me sternly. I looked at him with cold eyes. You're smart enough to want me to bring you food, huh? Qin Xian could freeze to death, but I won't. Is that it? Do I mean anything to you at all? I was so angry that my chest was heaving. I didn't want to waste any more words on them. I hung up the phone and blocked all of them. 2 more days passed. The comments said Dad died. Don't know where he found some compressed biscuits. He started fighting with Dad over them. As expected, Qin Xian won, and his dad was beaten to death by him. Upon hearing this news, I felt no stir in my heart. From now on, these people and events will have nothing to do with me anymore. Today, I had just gotten out of bed and was making porridge for myself. The barrage once again started to flood in relentlessly. Sis, run quickly. Your brother next door is already planning how to mess with you. The male lead already knows your address and is on his way now. They're already downstairs, and he's not alone. He's with the tattooed guy downstairs. The two plan to seize your supplies first, and then let the tattooed guy violate you. Ugh, they're simply inhuman. Sis, run quickly. I paused my actions. I didn't expect them to already know my location. I never thought my location would be discovered. The barrage stated that they were already downstairs. So now, there's no way for me to escape. I took a deep breath. The more crucial the moment, the more I need to maintain my composure. I rented 2 apartments like this. Originally, I was afraid something like this would happen, so there's another place on the 5th floor downstairs. According to the comments, they should only be able to determine my approximate location. They don't know exactly which room I'm in, although the door of the house I live in now has been modified. But as a woman, I don't know when help will arrive. I can't let them know my exact location. Once I decided, I acted immediately. I picked up the big axe that I had prepared in advance. I don't know where they've reached. I can only carefully go downstairs, all the way to the rented room. Only when I hid inside did I finally breathe a sigh of relief. My heart was on edge, and the big axe in my hand trembled constantly. Just a minute passed before I heard noises coming from downstairs. Brother Dahua, rest assured, my sister is very beautiful. I'll make sure she serves you well. Don't worry, once I get her things, I will definitely show you my gratitude. A sycophantic voice was heard. I held my breath, staring outside without blinking. Shut up, the most important thing now is to quickly find out where she lives. The two were wrapped up so thickly that it was impossible to tell what they are. Okayed like from the outside. No wonder they could make it here, in -80-degree weather. They are truly tough individuals. Carrying a heavy load, they had to take breaks after walking a certain distance. In just a few steps, they took several breaks. Qin Xian glanced at his phone and gave a signal to the man with the tattooed arm. Their gaze fell in my direction. Did they find me? My heart skipped a beat, but I managed to stay calm. The two were being cautious, so they probably didn't realize I had already noticed them. I bit my red lips to stop myself from making any sound. They had already stopped in front of me, thinking about the plan from earlier. I pressed my palm to keep myself calm. I hid behind the door. The door was gently closed by me. Just a push from the outside could open it. Due to the urgency, there were many supplies in this room that I didn't take with me. When the two saw the supplies in the room, their eyes turned greedy. The man with the floral tattoo and Qin Xian quickly ran over. The two exchanged a glance, seeing the wariness in each other's eyes. I bit my lip to make myself speak. They immediately looked over. I pretended to be calm. It's you, Qin Xian. How are you here? I was holding an axe, trembling. Qin Xian laughed triumphantly. I installed a monitor on your phone long ago. You didn't know, did you? I frowned. No wonder, he could always find my location accurately whenever I was on a business trip. So, my whereabouts were always exposed to him. The man with the floral tattoo easily snatched the axe from my hand. Beauty, your brother sold you to me. Soon we will spend a good night together. His gaze was lecherous as he scanned me up and down. My eyes were red, my voice sharp. Qin Xian. Qin Xian nonchalantly said, Sister, I am the backbone of the Qin family. Mom and Dad asked you to take good care of me on their deathbeds. The two laughed wildly. In no time, they brought out the ribs stewing in my kitchen, each of them taking a piece and eating with great enjoyment. After finishing the meal, both of them looked excited. The tattooed man walked toward me. A night of springtime is worth 1,000 gold coins for us. He pulled me into his arms. I struggled continuously, my nails scratching his face. The tattooed man grimaced in pain and gave me a hard slap. Seems like you're just asking for trouble. He grabbed my hand and started dragging me towards the bedroom. No, I can't bear to watch anymore. The supporting character is already trying hard to live, so why does life have to play such a cruel joke on her? Inhumane, simply inhumane. I'm crying like a dog. Why be so cruel to someone trying so hard to live? I stopped struggling, seemingly resigned to my fate, but in my heart, I silently counted down. 3, 2, 1. The two fell to the grue. ND. Qin Xian looked at me. Qin Mengnan, what did you put in there? I alone am definitely no match for 2 grown men. I added a large dose of sedative to the rib soup. The reason I let it slip was because I was afraid they might become suspicious. Once they drank the rib soup, they would be no threat to me. If looks could kill, I think I would have died 10,000 times by now. I tied them up and threw them into the room. I didn't take the supplies from the room. Anyway, there wasn't much, enough for them to last about 10 days. But according to the comments, this extreme weather is expected to last around 2 months. After 10 days, they'll have to find a way themselves. I locked the two inside the room. I threw the key out the window. I dusted off my hands. What happens next is no longer my concern. Time flies, and with the comments keeping me company, I'm not that lonely. Even though I was prepared, being rescued from inside the house and seeing the sunlight outside, I couldn't help but burst into tears of joy. The rescuers looked at me with sympathetic eyes. Miss Jean, your parents sacrificed themselves while searching for food outside. Your brother has also gone insane. I heard that Qin Xian managed to survive by relying on the corpse of the man with the tattooed arm. He killed the man with the tattooed arm and stayed with the corpse for 2 months. Not going insane would be unusual. I sent him to a mental hospital. I sold that filthy house and paid off the mortgage in advance. After packing all my things, I boarded a flight to another city. Sitting on the plane, a stream of comments appeared before me. She took out the male lead and became the female lead herself. Amazing. She was always the lead in her own life. Exactly, I've always been the protagonist of my own life. Why should I become a supporting character?